It's fun, especially when I do things he doesn't like. I get to hear about it. Anyway, how many people here are familiar with Transaction Desk or have ever signed in? Okay. So if you've never signed in to Transaction Desk, that's what we're talking about today. And by the way, this is a short class. This is only going to scratch the surface. I am putting together a CE class that will be 3 hours long. You can bring your laptops in and actually will take time to fill all that stuff out, but after this class today, y'all should have all that done. Okay? Anyway, there are a couple ways to get to your Transaction Desk, but the very first time you do it, you're going to want to go to the Armless and do the one-step sign-in. So you're going to go to armless.com. I've already done mine, so it's not going to show up the same way as your guys's, but you're going to go to Armless, and then there's going to be a box up here that takes you to this one-stop sign-in. You got to use your NERDS number to do it for the very first time.
Where's that at?
What's that?
You're talking about if you sign in, which one of those do you?
It's not on this screen because I've already done it. It's going to be a different screen for you. There's going to be a little box right here.
Okay.
And it's going to say sign up for one-stop sign-in, I think it's called. And then once you do that one time, you won't have to do it again. Okay? Then you'll be able to sign in right here on Armless, on your Flex MLS. This little button right here will take you right to your Transaction Desk after the first time. Your sign-in is your NERDS number. Does anybody here need to know where to get their NERDS number? Everybody know where to get it? Okay. If anybody has questions, we're going to try to hold the questions till the end because we're really short on time, but I'm going to give you all my card or whatever. You guys can email me anytime or call me and ask me questions, and I'm happy to answer. Most of this stuff I'm teaching you, there are videos in the back, and I'm going to show you how to get there too. So the first time you get to Transaction Desk, you're going to have a dashboard. This little lock right here can lock and unlock your dashboard. Your dashboard's not going to look like mine because I customized mine the way that I wanted it to look for me and the way I operate. I have my tasks here front and center because those are the things that I want to look at every day. Transaction Desk is designed for you to have everything all in one place. All your forms, Zip form is now in, it's not the same program, but to write your contracts, all your documents. So whenever you're saving your documents for a transaction, like I keep them all in my Google Drive, the stuff that you upload to SkySlope, you can keep them all in here, and it's all cloud-based too. That way, if you're anywhere, you can access your information. The idea is to have everything all in one place. So, your dashboard, you click right here to unlock it, and all these little buttons can go onto your dashboard, and you can move them around. See how there's an X here for me to remove that if I want to remove it? And I can move them around if I decide I don't like the order. And if it's green like this, you can change the size of the box and just make it look the way you want it to look. The other thing is right here is these 3 green bars. We'll open up this. These are all of your Instanet solutions. Transaction Desk, AuthentiSign is their version of eSign. The forms is Zip forms. DocBox would be like your G Drive or your, what's the other one? Dropbox. That's what this DocBox is like. It's a cloud-based saving for your documents. Your task manager is so that you can create task lists so that for, open escrow, order your inspections, your timelines can be, your critical timelines can be put in your task manager. We're going to go over that really briefly today. And Instanet Fax, if anybody ever uses fax anymore, you can do that from here as well. So, before you really get started, once you do all this stuff, you guys, this is a breeze. It is so fast, so easy. You could write a contract in 5 minutes or less. So you're going to go here to the little gears and click on setup, or click on settings. The first thing we're going to do is configure your program settings. So it's really easy. You just go through here and go down the line. Most of this stuff is in a default setting, and you're probably not going to want to change it. I really haven't changed much. I'm just going to breeze through here real quick and show you what's in here. If I'm going too fast, somebody holler out. I'm really short on time today. So document settings, it just shows how you want it sorted. I have it default. I haven't changed any of these settings, just so you guys know. And I'm using this transaction desk regularly. So it gives you drag and drop default. I'm not even sure what that's for. I don't think you're going to use it. Your form settings, it just changes your font and your font size if that's what you want to do. I don't see any point in that. Fax settings. Does anybody use fax? Okay. That's where you go in and you can change all your settings for your fax. Tasks are the checklist that we're going to put together will give you your tasks. So when you sign in your dashboard, it's going to tell you what you need to do today. Your email settings, I have my form set to send as an attachment, not a link. That is your preference. Always click update when you make changes. Authentisign print driver setup. This is in case you want to send your documents to Authentisign as if you're printing them. You know how most programs have more than one way to get to the same place? This is one of the ways to get your documents into InstaSign. Authentisign. Sorry. Everybody keeps calling it eSign. eSign is actually its own program. This is Authentisign. And so you know, if you have a listing and someone sends you an offer, you need to get that into your Authentisign to have it signed. You can do it like this. This is a printer driver. So you download the printer driver, and then you would print those documents to Authentisign, and it will send the documents straight to Authentisign. There are other ways that are easier. I'm just trying to show you that all the options, whatever works for you and whatever you think. And the same thing with the DocsBox printer driver. It does the same thing, but it sends your documents to the DocBox. So for me, when I get a bunch of executed documents, I don't know if you guys know this, but SkySlope has, whenever you open up your SkySlope, each transaction has its own email address. So whenever I get a bunch of executed document, I just forward it straight to SkySlope, and I don't have to worry about uploading all those documents. They'll be in there when I'm ready to assign them to their placeholders. That's kind of what this is like for your instance.
Where do you find the email address? Where do you find the email address
for SkySlope? On the transaction details on the very first page.
Okay.
It's at the top of the page.
Okay.
And this one does the same thing?
This one has a similar setting. That's what these print drivers are for. They also have an email address. It's a little hard to find. I'll get to that because it's not as simple as SkySlope. So
question. So in SkySlope, you can, like, if you have emails going back and forth, you can attach the email of that transaction so they automatically upload to SkySlope?
They don't automatically upload. They go in the Documents tab. So you actually have to upload them to their assigned tabs.
Oh.
But we're not talking about SkySlope. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
I was just wondering if this does the same thing.
Similar.
So you can save those right in.
Yes, into DocBox right here.
Okay.
That's like your G Drive or your Dropbox, but it's all in here in Transaction Desk. Okay. So link devices. This is where if you download the app on your phone and your iPad, you're going to want to click on activation code, and then you put that code in your device, and they will all work together. So you change one, you change a transaction in one, it'll update everything. So everything will sync and work together. It's very nice. But you have to go in here and to get the activation code. So download the app first, then get the activation code. Your device is going to ask you for the activation code, and then you move on that way. All right? I know I'm going fast, you guys. Questions you can ask later.
That was under settings still?
We're still in settings.
Okay, got it.
So your notifications, you can look in here and just kind of see what kind of notifications you're getting. I have all my tasks notifying me, and I have them notifying me via email. And when you set them up, it'll ask you how you want to be notified. We're getting to that as well. Clauses.
I gotta listen to this.
This is where you can save clauses. So I think I have a couple in here. All right, here's my concession clause. So if you want to add a clause and save it, you click on this add button. Anytime you're looking to add anything, you're looking for this little plus button right here in the upper left, right side. So you want to add a clause, you create, or if you want to add a new folder, say you want to do something especially for sellers or especially for buyers, however you decide to organize. You just click on add a new clause, and you can type it in here and save it, and it'll be in there. So the next time, so when you're writing your contract, you don't have to type the whole clause out. So here's my concession clause, courtesy of Mr. Dyer. Everybody has heard this if they've been to his classes. Just makes it easy to pop it into your contract when you're writing a contract. I'm happy to share all this stuff, but I can't stop to do it right now. Just email me and I'll send it to you. All right. Type management is the type of transactions. They already have everything pretty much in here as a default. I really haven't gone in and changed anything. This is going to be in depth in the next class. This is something that you don't really need to use right this second. Everything they have in there is perfectly fine. Checklist manager. These are checklists that I created. At the end of your handouts are my two checklists, the sellers and buyers. You're welcome to use them, but you still have to create them. I've not figured out a way to share them among everybody. So you're going to have to go in and create the checklist. So again, you click this add button. You name your checklist. And then you're going to tell the checklist what you want from it. So, checklist items, add. If you click general, it doesn't give you a time. If you click task, it's going to ask you, when do you want this completed by? So I'm going to click on task, and let's just say open escrow, just to show you how this works. So you're going to click on the task button up here. You're going to give it a due date related to the transaction date, and it's going to be after 1 day after acceptance date. I like to give it a reminder. That will send it to your email. The reminder will go to your email and remind you that you have a task that's due. That's what I like about the task as opposed to the general. It does not remind you if you go under general. Click save. So now I have a little checklist, and you can just keep adding until your checklist is completed. Once you finish your checklist, you won't have to do this again. All this stuff is set up. Then when you're doing your transactions, the stuff will all be in there ready for you. And here it's asking you if it's used by a template. And we're going to update and and it's not letting me add, so we're not using that as a template. So we're going to templates next. Transaction templates. These are all templates that I created. So when I'm doing a transaction, all my forms are going to be automatically populated into my transactions. I don't have to pull them in. So for a listing, so here you can put your checklist, you can put contacts. I have, if you have a title company that you want to use on every one, you can put that in there. Documents, if you have certain documents that you want to send out to those people, your pool safety, maybe would be one. For your protection, get a home inspection, one of those. You can put those in there. Here's the forms that go with the document to be filled out. And this is what I chose. I made my own template. So my home group's back office has a couple of checklists of documents that are required. So if you need to use that, you can use that as a guide for your template. And if you're a team, you can share with your team here. Under the sharing section, you would click the plus sign and add a share group. Alright. We go over preferences. I didn't go over the most important preferences. This user information is all going to be filled out for you. Office information cannot be changed. And I've been asking Larry to change this. See right here, office ID. That's our NERDS number. So when you do write a contract, until this gets changed, Larry has to change it. You need to take that out and put the MHGO2 that is supposed to go there. It's going to under the identifying office, or whatever your office number is. I'll show you when we get to writing a contract. Email signature. Whenever you're writing an email out of here, you're going to type in your signature, and this is what will be sent out along with your emails. Branding. I put my email banner in there, all our logos and phone numbers in. You can put whatever branding you want to put in here. Your logo, MHG logo, or nothing if you choose not to. And then this is how you can change your password and update your password if you choose to. So, have I lost everybody yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to take a minute for questions.
I don't know anything about this. Is this the change, like zip forms is going away? So if we do all of this in zip forms now, do I still need DocuSign the way I use DocuSign now?
Are you paying for DocuSign?
Yeah, because it's integrated so much better with zip forms with all of this stuff where it just
Okay,
like
yeah,
autofills.
this has nothing to do with zip form?
Okay, so will this autofill like it does?
Yes, I will get to, I'll
If
show
you're a
you that.
DocuSign? Okay.
This will take the place of all of it. By the end of the year, AAR will no longer support zip form. You will still be able to use it for probably a year, but your documents will not be updated. So unless you're making sure that your documents are current, you could be using outdated documents.
They're gonna start charging you for it too.
After 2020, because NAR is supporting it through 2020, from what I'm told. I'm getting some different.
I heard just the plus version.
So where, you know how on zip form, if you have it to DocuSign, it already populates the signatures? This will
Yes.
do that? if
Yes,
you-
we'll
okay,
get to that.
cool. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's not all of them. Hold on.
I went out, I was out there and I didn't get one.
Here you go. You have that back.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so once you get all this stuff done, now we can get into how to do a transaction, how to get it signed, and yes, to answer your question, it does everything that zip form does and e-sign does. And this is part of your AAR fees. You don't need to pay for anything else. You don't need DocuSign. This works like a charm. Seriously. Okay, so let's talk about, once you get your checklist set up and your template set up, you're ready to write a transaction. So when I do the other class, I'm going to go in depth on checklists and templates how to write them. You bring your computers, you can write them all up and have them all ready. We just don't have enough time today to do that. So unfortunately, I can't do that. But somebody give me either an address or MLS number. Throw it out there. Anyone.
13202 North 19th Way.
One of your listings? Okay. So, I showed you up here, you can get there to get to transaction desk's main page, your dashboard. You can start a transaction from here. I don't know why you ever would, because this other way is much easier. If you wanted to create a transaction, you see this button right here, you click on create a transaction, and it's going to walk you through the wizard. This way is so much easier. If you have a property in mind, you see right here on this where it says transaction desk, everybody? Click on that, and it's going to take you right to the wizard. So, this is where you get to pick your template. I'm going to pick my residential purchase contract template. We're importing data from this particular listing, and we're going to click on create, and click your use wizard button, because you want the wizard. Now you're going to go through all 5 of these steps, and then your forms will be pre-filled. Whatever your offer price is, you give them a full price offer. We'll put 20% down. Oops, that's not my deposit. We'll put $2,000 down. Somebody do this math for me real quick. Anybody? 18.5?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not good with this on the fly. And then what's my total finance? 10% down?
186.
186, 500. All right, 500. Yeah, okay. Anyway, you get those numbers right. If you have any other, this stuff you're not going to be filling out. That's, unless it excludes something. Any of these things are applicable, then obviously you'll use it. Next. This is where you edit the people in the contract. So I have a title company in here that I like to use, and I already have it in there. I set it up in my template, so except his name is not in here. So I have to go in and change it. You can add your buyer's names. So you're gonna create a new transaction contact. You can upload from Google, but I'm gonna go through here and show you each one, and then we'll get to the Google thing. This is how you create a new one. You click on what type. It's a buyer. It's Fred Flintstone. If it's a corporation, you can put that there. And then if it is a corporation, you're going to want to fill out the preferred signature, because we want Fred Flintstone to sign, not North Investments. And I'm not going to add him to my address book because he's not real. But if you want to add it to your address book, click on that little box right there and save. Now North Investments is added as a buyer. All right. I can fix Brad Mercer, but I'm not going to. Then after you have all your people in here, you're going to click on next. You could add the loan officer if you wanted to, but I don't think that's necessary. Then you're going to go to your purchase contract, and you'll see that the numbers I put in are filled out. And since we're not talking about how to fill out a contract, I'm not gonna go through all this. I'm just gonna breeze through it and show you that you can go through and fill out the stuff you need to fill out. And whatever financing, blah, blah, fills all that out, and it fills out the last page. Nothing irritates me more than getting a contract without this last page filled out. Lazy, lazy, lazy. All this should be filled out for both buyer and seller. That's the right way to do it. Okay. If you want to go to the rest of your forms, so on the side here, it takes you to the main. On the top is for this transaction. So the little house is your forms. You'll go in and make sure each form is filled out the way you want it. And so on and so forth. Any questions so far? Have I lost anybody on how to get to this place? Anyone? Okay. This file you can save, open. You can save it as a PDF if you decide you want to save it onto your hard drive, or you want to put it in your Dropbox, or what do they call it here? It's not Dropbox here. It's some other one. What was it? Oh, DocBox, yeah.
So close.
Yeah. You can delete this page or current page. You can add a watermark here. This is to trash it or delete it, print. And also another way to send it to either your email it, fax it, put it in your DocBox, or mark it up if you need to mark it up. This is to change your fonts settings. This is your clause. If you need to add a clause in, let's go back to the purchase contract and add my clause in.
I like that, that's nice.
Pretty sure ZipForms has it too, you just have to set it up. Okay. So, a multi-line text box needs to be selected. Why isn't it letting me do it?
It takes it out.
Okay. Well, maybe this part of the class I won't be teaching right now. There you go. Multi-line text box needs to be submitted. Okay. All right. So I think it wants me to mark up. I'm not sure what it's trying to make me do. I'll figure this out so we're not wasting
I
time.
think you have to add a text box and then put your clause in that text box and it'll go on to that.
But it's not giving me an opportunity to write a text box. That's in markups. If you go, yeah. I'll figure that out. Just so you guys know, all of this stuff I figured out on my own. Another thing, see this little question mark? You go here, everything I'm teaching you is in here. These guides, what you have right there. I didn't do them all, there's so many, look at them all. But if you get lost, you can't figure out how to do something, they really do have a pretty in-depth help center here. They also have some videos that you can watch if you learn better visually. And the pre-recorded webinar, that's what I watched and that's how I learned how to use this program. And it's really very simple. You just play around with it and you'll get used to it. So here's the transaction we just created. Let me show you how to get your documents signed. See here on the side? These are pertaining to this transaction. So if you go to forms, it's going to pull up all your forms. I'm assuming these forms are all filled out, so I'm gonna check on the forms that I wanna send for signing. You see the little basket here? Click on the basket. And then you can do any number of things from here. You can send them to DocBox, copy, download a zip form, print, PDF, email, fax, but we want the pen. That's Authenticide. This gives you the opportunity of either doing signing in line, they sign in order, or first come, first serve. That's preference. I prefer first come, first serve, so you're not waiting for people to sign before it sends it to the next person. Under advanced options, and I always have trouble scrolling, but right here is a little box, right there. And for some reason on this screen, it doesn't like to show up and doesn't let me scroll. It says hide signature keys. Check that, or you will have little boxes next to each signature. It will show a little key from Authenticide. It's not a bad thing, I just aesthetically don't like it. I like to send reminders every 4 hours. You can, every 4 hours is the soonest you can send them, but you can change it to whatever you like here. I can't tell if that box is checked or not. Hang on. Oopsie. What'd I do? What just happened? Did I lose the entire thing? Good Lord. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to close that out. There it is. How is it all the way over there? You see that in the corner? Oh my gosh.
Oh.
It's like it's lost. There we go. It's all the way inside here. How does that happen, people? You see that? There we go. Good Lord, how did that happen?
It's common when transaction does.
It'll take me right back where we were. Actually, if you want to go straight to Authenticide, click the pen here. This is where we left off. Also, I like to change this name up here. All right, we were at advanced options. Participants is next. You can choose your buyer, and I think I put a lead-based paint in there, so I'll add myself. And you see how it has me as a reviewer? You gotta click remote signer and add. If you need to add anybody else, you can add them here too as an additional person. And we'll go back and show you the Google thing when I get done with this. Your documents are next. Fred Flintstone doesn't have an email address. You see the little red hand? I didn't give him an email address, so it's asking me for that information.
Does it automatically assign a PIN?
No. You have to tell it to.
Okay. So you don't have to assign a PIN?
No. It'll ask if you want to when you're signing.
Okay.
All right. These guys are ready to roll. They're nice. There are no red flags here. Then we go to our documents. You see these little yellow things? There's your tags. So these layouts will work when you do from this screen. If you upload a document, it's not going to know where to put the tags. You can create your own layouts. That's probably for another class. All you have to do is create your transaction one time where all the layouts are and all the stickers are, and then save it as a layout. But if you have layouts saved, which I've done a couple, you could click on apply layout and it's gonna ask you which one you want. These are the ones that I've done so far, that I've saved. Because sometimes you want to upload, like when you get an offer from someone, it's not going to, because zip forms or e-sign, you use DocuSign, I use e-sign. E-sign recognizes the document and will put the tags in.
Right.
But this one doesn't. You have to do your own layouts.
But once you set them up, you just attach them to whichever thing and then it does it the way it's doing it now, if you're doing it that way.
Correct.
But you don't, like, you know how, see, I took classes and the guy was like, e-sign just doesn't match up the way DocuSign does to zip forms, but you think this, I could totally get rid of DocuSign?
I haven't used DocuSign in years. I use e-sign.
Yeah, I use these.
And it works like a charm. And maybe one or two more clicks. I mean, it's really not much different than DocuSign. I remember when I first switched over, I said the same thing. Oh, but it's just one more click, and it basically does the same thing.
Okay.
So yeah, so you'll see here that it has tabs in place.
It automatically does that,
If you come from the transaction part and do it all the way through, yes. If you're uploading a document, see right here where it says layouts, this is where you can apply layouts too. If you have an uploaded document that you need to add tabs to.
What does layout?
Layouts is like a template
Oh, okay,
for where your signatures belong.
okay.
So a purchase contract layout would have a tab on the bottom for buyer, would have a tab on the bottom for each signature on each page. It does not do the lead-based paint. You have to do that yourself. This is how you add it with drag and drop. The red is mandatory signing. The green is optional. I rarely give them the option because they'll usually skip if they have an optional. So you can just throw the initials there. Actually, see how it had me, I put me in there and that's me. I'm gonna get rid of that. And the way to delete that is right here. There was a little trash can there. And we're gonna change this to Fred Flintstone. That's how you change to your other person that's signing. And I'm gonna stick his initials there. You can also change the size if you decide you don't like it. They make them really small. And if you're anal, then you might want to do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Depends on how much of a hurry I'm in. I always make the actual signature bigger though because it's really small. So I'll always go in here and make this bigger. And looks like this looks good. Just go through and check your other documents. It didn't do the HOA addendum. Oh, it did it on the buyer side. Yep. So we're gonna make this signature a little bigger. And just go through and double check, you guys. Don't rely on it. Make sure everything is correct before you send it off. It's really embarrassing when you don't. And I have done this for 16 years and I double check my contracts every time and I still find mistakes. Especially when you get in a hurry. See how this has everybody all in there already. So we're good to go. That's ready to go. You click on next. If you want to customize your email to the person, you can click here. If you send invitations, it's a default. You can click here and it's going to do it for each person separately, not one email for both of them. So you can go sign this. Sign this now. And whatever you want to say in here. You know, probably please review and sign. Please review all documents before signing, initially, dating, etc. Save and send your invitations. Now, I'm gonna show you how this works from the signing point of view. As soon as it gets to me. Here's one that I got earlier. This is what it looks like when you get your contract sent back to you. If you print right here where it says download a final document, if you click on that, it's one long PDF. It's not separate documents. You can go in and upload them separately right through Authentisign. It's the one thing I don't like, because eSign will automatically send you a zip, and they're all separate, and they're all ready to go, and you just forward that to SkySlope, and everybody's happy. But they don't do that. That's the one, and I've talked to them about it, and hopefully they'll fix it. So it's actually one extra step. I'll show you. So that's if you wanted to save the whole thing. Sorry. So you open the transaction. Here's the original document. Here's the final document. And then here's each one separately. Here's the thing that I was saying really bugs me. You can't download all those at once. And in order to actually download these documents, you gotta click twice. You gotta click on it once to pull it up. There's too many clicks if you ask me, but you get used to it, and we get lazy. Come on. Come on. What the heck is my computer doing, peeps? It is not responding. There we go. Okay. You have to view as PDF, then you have to download it. That's how you can get it onto your hard drive. If you just upload it, it's going to ask you where it wants you to send it. You can send it straight to your Google Drive if you wanted to. And now this should be in here to show you how it looks like to sign. All right, so here's what the customer is going to see. They just have to click on the big pen, verify they're not a robot. And because I've already signed documents in here, it's not asking me to pick a signature. It will ask them to pick a signature and confirm that they are who they are and that they agree to all the terms. And then you just click on start. It seems to be moving a little slow today. And this is where they can add a password if they want to. And it's signed. Now that's signed by me. That's not, I didn't do the buyer signature. And then it's going to come back into my inbox and tell me that it's been signed. See, it says signing action. It says that I've signed. Once Fred Flintstone signs, it'll come back and say final document. All right. That's the gist of it. Now we can get into a little bit of details. Questions? So everybody can go and write a contract right now, right?
Don't know what I don't know.
Where are you confused?
Or am I confused? From the beginning?
You mean like how do you sign on and all
Oh
that?
no, I have already gone on to this and did the initial sign up and stuff. I just didn't know where to go from there.
Okay.
So
So the first thing you want to do is go in and set up all your preferences and your settings. First thing, preferences and settings. Second thing, templates. Third thing, checklists. Once you do those things, you're ready to write contract. You don't have to do any of that. You can go in and write a contract without having checklists and templates. It just takes longer. You have to add your forms. Now, I didn't go through that with you guys. Like, let's just say you want to add a form that isn't in your template. I'll show you how to do that as soon as this thing decides to let me back in.
Don't they have a 24-hour number too? You come up with something?
I think they do.
Yeah.
They're very helpful.
Yeah.
We're going to use this one because that's my sample. So if you want to add a form, you click on Forms over here. Up here, we have the Add button. And then you're going to pick where your form is going to be located. You can add an addendum, your additional clause addendum, whatever you need by contingency, and add. And now these documents are included in my transaction. The other library is for the MLS. Add whatever you need to add, and let's just do one to add it. Let me show you how to create a template and create a checklist. You go to savings, to your settings, transaction templates. You click on add, give it a name. Give it a type. I'm going to call this a residential listing. You know, let's just say it's a short sale listing. This is where you would have different templates for different transactions. Back in the day, we had to have that in our library, didn't we? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to add forms. We go in here. We add all the forms we want. I'm not going to do this the way it's supposed to be done. I'm just going to add a bunch of stuff just to show you. Add. And update. This is where you can add checklists. You have them made. Click on the plus sign. Add. If you have any documents in here, I don't think I have anything saved in here. You can drag and drop or pick up stuff from your hard drive here if you need to put documents in your template, like if your pool safety or for your protection, get a home inspection, those types of documents, your tenant advisory, other forms like that. And then again, sharing if you have a team. Who in here has a team? Anybody? Okay, cool. Click on update before you're done. And then now we go back to template, transaction templates, and there it is, short sale. So next time I create a transaction, that's going to be available to me as a template for that transaction. That's why you want to decide how many different types of transactions are you writing, and make your templates up for each one of these. Mine are mostly listings, purchases, and rentals. That's what I deal with mostly. That's what I made my templates for. All these tests are from teaching class. This is how you delete your template. You decide you want to get it out of here and clean up so you're organized. So these are the ones I actually use. I included my checklist for you guys. Your timelines may be different and you may have different tasks, but it's a way for you to just kind of follow along or add whatever you want to add. So if you want to create a checklist, I showed you this earlier. We're going to do a test. seller checklist. And then you add your tasks as described on the last page of your, I included a buyer temp, a checklist, and a seller checklist that I use. Should be in here. Yeah, these documents right here. And one of them has stuff on the back. So basically it just says, like, for my checklist for sellers, order, lister, sister on listing. Upload your documents 1 day after listing. Facebook marketing 2 days after listing. Weekly updates to the owner 7 days. So it just comes up in your dashboard. See my tasks right here? That's what my checklists are telling me to do. So I need to order that. I've already done this. Oops. Click on this button here and you can mark it as done. Wait, click on tasks. Go to tasks. This is where you can mark it as done. Right here. Click to complete. Then it won't show up anymore. This is the one I just wrote this morning. I just wrote this contract, so it's giving me my tasks on that one already. If it's got a cross on it, if it's crossed out, that means it's already completed. Make sense? Okay. What else can we go through?
Was the land base paint the only one that you had to do the drop and drag? Otherwise, you found that they're all pretty much on there. The little
On the original
sign
purchase
squares?
contract, yes. Yes.
What do you, so then you enter that, you write it, and then you send it, how do you send it to where it's supposed to be done?
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to that again. I'll show you. Okay. So we're gonna go to forms. And we're gonna click on the forms that you want signed.
Right,
And you're gonna go to the basket.
okay,
And you're gonna click on the pen.
okay.
Then it's gonna walk you through advanced options. Do that little box on the bottom there that won't let me show. It's right there. And on my screen at home, it shows up. It shows up fine. That just keeps it from showing those little boxes on the bottom when you actually get it signed back. And I like to send reminders. And if you want to set an expiration date, you can do that. Your participants go here. You can add someone from the transaction. You can add from contacts, add yourself, or add someone that's brand new that isn't in your contacts or in the transaction. I don't know, like.
Does it say then like at the address real quick?
If you tell it to. So if we add a new participant, at the bottom it's going to say save in my address book. You know that someone did that to one of my signs?
Sylvia Howe.
It was pretty funny. Pretty funny. Alright. Fortunately it came off. I'm like, oh, that's lovely. I'm trying to see if it's going to let me get down there. Nope, it's not letting me say. Oh, here it is. Up here. Save to contacts.
Okay.
Alright. Now it won't let me get back to the top again. This thing's weird sometimes. Alright. Now I can't get back to the top of this. Okay. What is going on? At the very top, it should let me send all this. Now it's not letting me out.
Yeah,
Is it just refreshing itself?
Alright, here we go. I'm not in there now. Here's where your documents are gonna, so it's not gonna let you go out of order. You have to add someone in. You see this part? It has me as a reviewer. You want me to be a signer. You can also do this in person if you want to do an in-person signing if you're with a person. You're going to put me in as the buyer because it didn't know what I was doing or who I was in the transaction. It added all the layouts here. And then this is where you're going to go through and make sure everything is where you want it. You can also mark up here. So say you forgot to check a box. I would do the checkbox like that. If you do the blue one, it's optional. I don't like to do optional because they'll skip it unless you specifically inform the client that they need to check that box. You can also add text.
There's your text box for your clause, right there. So you would have had to know you were gonna put it in
Right.
every single one.
Exactly. Okay, you're absolutely right. Thank you, darling. You just taught the teacher. Here we go.
That's
So
the
in
challenge
order-
with Transaction Desk or this is that it's not intuitive. You have the most experience. You didn't even know that.
Okay, so, but it's not giving me an opportunity to put my clause in there.
But wasn't it?
Yeah, no, this is from the Authenticide, so no, I don't think that's correct. But you could add your clause, you just have to type it, which is what we're trying to avoid. So that's the thing I'm gonna figure out how we do next. And I'll make sure I find that answer.
Oh, but it did let you type if you want.
If you wanna type, you can type.
Okay.
You can write whatever you want. You can do it like this, and type in here,
Okay. Maybe.
maybe. It's persnickety. Let's try this. This is the way I usually do it.
Oh, where did you get that one now?
This is in the markup section, right here,
Okay.
and you can
Oh, I see.
draw freehand text, add a circle, add a square, highlight. And draw a line. I'm not sure what the deal is with this, why this wouldn't let me fill it out. Oh, I know why. Because I'm putting a text box in for the signer. That's for them. So like, if you wanted them to fill this address out,
Oh.
you would put this text box in here for them to fill it out. That's what that text box
It
is
was for
for.
the signer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because to put a clause in the additional, that's a whole different area of the program.
Yeah, I would do that when you're filling out the contract, but if
Right.
you forgot and you wanted to add it at this stage, you still could do that with your markup section here. You could just take your box and type in your clause if you wanted to do that. I would do it here if I forgot to do it in the earlier, because I wouldn't want to have to go back and then come back. But you could go back and go back to your documents and start over. If you click next, it's going to send it out to everyone.
What does options do? It was on the thing and at the bottom. Like, what kind of things can options do on there? Do you know?
Yes, hold on.
If you missed something, what it's
In this part, design,
It was where we were just where it's just like the bottom thing. I was just wondering like what it meant by options. Is it like changing there? It was also when you did the text. Oh, so just
Yeah.
the whole thing or
yeah. Not a lot of
yeah.
options there.
Okay.
Okay. Now let me go back. let's see if we can figure out this clause thing, because we have 10 minutes left, and unless somebody has other questions. Anybody? So, this is what I would do if I couldn't figure it out. I'd click on this, and I'd look for the guide, and I'd look for clauses in here. I'm sure they have them somewhere in here.
Could you put it in search or no?
Maybe.
Look for,
Manage clauses. Choose. These guides want me to download every one. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not downloading every single one. Create clause. Create. Add clause folder. It doesn't say how to insert the clause.
Is there a way when you're setting up the templates to add a text box into that area that's multi-line? I don't know, because I've only ever done the templates on zip form, but is there a way to add?
I would say that anything that you can do on a template, you can do on a form. So if you can't do it on the form, you can't do it on the template either. You could save,
A
you
text
could
box
do
on
it.
there so that you could add the clause later, maybe?
I don't know. Let me see if I can figure this out. Can't be that hard. A multi-line text box needs to be added. Huh. That is so bizarre.
Does it give you info where it says info when it tells you to do that?
Yeah, it
Little
just
eye,
says,
It doesn't say,
it
oh, that
doesn't-
is the info.
yeah, that's all it says.
It's an extra.
Multi-level text
Yeah.
line needs to be added and selected. Huh. I don't know. All right, let's go back to contacts then. If you want to add contacts in here, you can add contacts from Google. Should you decide you want to download the Google people. I did that just to have them in there. Doesn't hurt. It's nice to have people handy. What else? Your task manager, we already talked about that. This is where you can save your documents. Any other questions, anybody?
So when you get it typed up and then you send it, that's what my question was, just send it to a person to sign, because I don't remember how we did that.
As soon as at the very end, when you click send invitations, it'll send it to them.
The emails that you want to do anything.
When you click participants, it should have their email address there. So once you click send invitations, it sends the invitation directly,
And then it'll come back to your email?
once you're finished. So here's my email,
Okay,
here's the invitation.
okay.
That's what the client is going to see. See how it has my branding, because I put the branding in there? And they're gonna just click on the pen to start. Okay? Once it's finished, let's see. I have one in here. See here where it says final revision? That's my signed one. This is one that, an offer I wrote this morning
Okay.
that got sent in to me.
I'll put that-
So in order to save the final document, you click there. Now, it's gonna give you one long PDF. If you want the documents separate, you have to go into Transaction Desk to nab them. So, this is where you go. Click on the pen. Click on the transaction. And here on the bottom is each document separate.
Then how do you send it right to the listing that you're doing for that?
I just send them the actual email. I
You
send them
send the
this,
whole thing?
I send this email.
You don't separate them, just send it all?
Nope, I don't separate it. I just send it and let them deal with it.
That's what I always get them together, but even though I don't send like that.
I mean, you could separate them if you want to and save them and do it that way.
I don't like uploading with SkySlope with a big PDF like that, it's too hard.
Well, when you do that in SkySlope, SkySlope has
Right.
a clipper that you can separate the documents and then assign them to a tab. Yeah, you know, there's always more than one way
Right.
to do things. So you just have to find the way that flows for you the best. Those of us in the room that are a little older and we're used to zip form and e-sign and all that stuff, I get it. It's hard teaching old dog new tricks. We're used to doing things the way we do them. That's why I urge you to play around with this right now. Because when you're not allowed, when you can't use it anymore, you don't want to be floundering trying to write a contract. You know, you want to already know this program and know. I still use zip forms, even though I'm using this a lot. When I'm like, bam, I just need to get this done right now. I got 2 minutes. I'll go write it as a form and do it. You know, my people are saved, my transactions are saved. I had to write an addendum to a rental that I wrote 3 years ago. Was I going to go fill out everything in transaction desk again? No, I didn't want to spend the time to do that. However, at some point I'm going to have to.
Because you have existing things.
Because I have existing clients with existing transactions that are repeat clients, and you know, at some point I've already migrated my one investor over to transaction desk so that I can just keep them in there, because we write contracts almost daily.
None of your files are transferred over on this at all, right? Okay.
No way to do that, so everything that's saved in zip form,
It's went away.
it'll stay in your zip form.
You must be able to access it if for some reason like you need to get to it.
You can do zip form plus.
Yeah. Online.
That one will be available through NAR through 2020 from what I'm being told. After that, you'll have to pay for it if you want it. And your forms will not be up to date. And it's silly. This is part of your AAR fees. Why would you spend money you don't need to spend? It won't take you that long to get used to this program. It's just a matter of using it a few times. And you know, then you'll get used to it, and yes, there are a few things that are annoying, like this part really bugs me.
Yeah.
You know what? I wonder if you can do it this way. Save link as. Let's see. Sometimes that'll let you just download it right off the bat. Yep, look at that. No, same thing. So I still have to click on View as PDF. See, that's what bugs me. 3 clicks before I can actually download the document. I've already complained to them. I'm like, people, why are you making me go through four clicks when eSign sends me one zip file and I click it and upload it and it's done? One time. You know, you should be able to download these documents separately in a zip file. So maybe they'll fix it. They've done a few changes when people, you know, they're still trying to work out their own kinks, and until they get users using it and people saying, okay, this is where my flow is being broken. To me, that's a break in the flow right there from what we're used to. If it's not better, then I don't want to use it. Right? Yeah.
I remember how horrible it was to use, and I kept paying for DocuSign.
Yeah, I did that too for a little while, but it just doesn't make sense to me to pay for something when you've already got it free with your membership. You guys can email me, text me, call me anytime you have any questions. If you need help with this stuff, I am doing this as a CE class. When we do the CE class, everybody bring their computer. We will actually stop, let you fill the stuff out. I'll walk around, help you make your templates, make your clauses. I am almost done with the class. I have to finish the class and submit it to the department and get it approved. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, we'll have that available to you guys. In the help section?
No, I mean, what you said.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's video, you're welcome, thank you for coming.
I tried to
Thank
find
you so
it.
much, Sylvia.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Here,